Have you noticed that a lot of stores have been restocking rare Funko Pops? Yeah, I have too. So let's get started! And now, before I show you any of the figures that I'm going to be talking about today, I do want to mention that I don't think this is inherently a bad thing. Especially because Funko doesn't do it with every single figure. They do it with a select few that are pretty popular. And now, before we get into any of the recent times that they re-release figures, I want to go all the way back to the beginning with these Star Wars figures. The first time they re-released something. And now, if you've been collecting Pops for a while, you might remember these here, the blue box Funko Pops. And they use these boxes to create the original Star Wars Pops. And when you look on the back, there are some pretty classic ones here. And you can see that they're a little bit simpler, but also pretty hard to find today. And when you take a look at the bottom of the figure, you can find out the date. And this one here has a 13 at the beginning, which means it was released in 2013, so almost a decade ago. But let's not even talk about today. If you were to go to a store in 2016, you wouldn't be able to find this figure either. So Funko came up with an idea for new collectors, release the exact same figures, but with the black box. And so for anybody who started collecting in 2015, 2016, they were excited about this because you were able to get that original figure without having to pay an arm and a leg for it. And I do remember at the time this was a little bit polarizing because everybody who had the original blue box ones were mad that these ones were coming out, but if you didn't have any of the blue box ones and wanted some, this was a great way to get them. And also, taking a look at the back of the Jawa box, you can see all of the figures that they re-released with the black box, and there is a good amount of them, and a lot of these figures go for a pretty penny if they're the original blue ones. And a quick example for you guys is the Greedo Funko Pop. I have that one with the black box, which is worth, well, $25. Which isn't anything too crazy, but if you look at the blue box version, it is... Oh my gosh! Okay, I didn't realize it went up in value. $1,790. So I guess a bunch of years later, it wasn't really a big deal that they made these black box ones because the blue box ones still held their value and actually have shot up a lot in recent years. And I'll be honest, I don't know why Greedo is so expensive now because I'm looking in like the beginning of 2021, he was about $830, and then recently there was a sale for $1,790? I don't know what's going on there. So it seems like it worked out in Funko's favor for the Star Wars ones, and then after that, the next time that I can remember them re-releasing a figure was with Finding Dory. Because Funko had made an entire line of Finding Nemo figures, and some people liked them, but then some people didn't really enjoy them. And I think it's mainly because it's really hard to translate a fish into the Funko Pop style. Dory's a little awkward. And so when it came around to Finding Dory releasing, people were excited to see a brand new version of her, and maybe it would be a little bit better than the original. But instead, they just happen to do this. The exact same figure, but they switched the label on the box to say Finding Dory and not Finding Nemo. And I found it really odd that they did this because there was two characters in this wave, and it wasn't like they just took the old ones and re-released them all again. They made a Dory as well as Hank, and that was it. And if you guys have seen the movies, you would know that Hank is only in Finding Dory, so they had to make a new character for him. So I don't know why they didn't also update the version of Dory. It's a bit odd. And I mean, seriously guys, look at the back of the box. They only made two characters for the movie. And I guess the only way I could see this as a positive is if you really wanted that original Dory, but the thing is, you didn't even get any of the other great characters like Crush, as well as Nemo and Bruce. Oh, and another time that they've also done these re-release boxes is with Harry Potter, where the original set used to look like this Ron here with the darker blue box, and if you look, the Dementor was originally in this set. And around a year to a year and a half ago, I was shopping around looking for Funko Pops, and I ran into this here, a Dementor in the newer Harry Potter box. So it looks like they're still making some of the older characters, but bringing them back in the newer, lighter boxes, which I don't mind because I kind of like this box a little bit more than this one. And that was pretty much it for the re-releases until about 2020 when Hot Topic started to get a little bit crazy. And I don't even have an example for you guys because they did this with like 15 to 20 different exclusives. And I do understand that the only reason people are getting mad about this is because their collections are going down in value, or flippers aren't able to flip them for as much as they could have before. So I'm not really opposed to stores bringing back figures. The only thing I'm a little bit bummed about is the amount they did at once. Because for me, it doesn't make it as special when they're bringing back so many of them at once. And I feel like it would have been really cool if they took one figure, for example, the Stitch, Angel, and Scrump. I remember they re-released this one. If they did it where it was like, for this month, we're going to be bringing back this exclusive and you're going to be able to purchase it for a limited time, that would have been really neat. But the way they did it, where they brought back like the Alex DeLarge with mask, where it was only available inside of a mystery box and then you could just buy it on shelves, it was really random. And don't get me wrong, I did buy a couple of these for my collection, but I still found it overwhelming the amount they were doing. And so I want to pass the question off to you guys, and I don't really want you to worry about what the values are. I just want to see what you guys think about Hot Topic bringing back so many vaulted exclusives. Should they do it where it's one every once in a while, or maybe never do it ever because once it's gone, it's never supposed to be back? Let me know what you guys think. And now I do actually have one other thing that I wanted to talk about today, which is, well, this right here. And now from a first glance, you may think, Tristan, you just have two of the exact same Stitch Funko Pop, but if you look at them closely, you'll notice on the bottom here, this one released in 2014, when this one here was all the way in 2021. And very similar to the Dementor, I found this one here, the 2021 version, over at my local drugstore, and I found it really odd that it was there, and then when I picked it up to look at it a little bit closer, I noticed they updated the box. Because when you look on the bottom here, the original figure has like Stitch's face on the bottom, which I found really neat about the original Funko Pops. But then when you look at this one, it's got all of the newer legal stuff. And actually, now that I'm looking at it, it seems like they removed the fireworks from the newer figure. So you can see on this one, there's a bunch of fireworks in the background, but then on this one here, it's kind of just like blue with a couple stars. And now I do want to mention that none of this is really crazy, but I think it's funny that they're re-releasing figures for so long that they have to update the boxes. And I actually have one other example that is very similar to the Stitch one, and it has to do with the General Grievous. Because if you guys have been watching my videos for a little while, you might remember when I went over to my local GameStop and they said that there was a General Grievous up for pre-order, and I thought that it was going to be this newer one here, the Hot Topic exclusive version. And I remembered it was going to be releasing within the month, so I'm like, okay, I'll pre-order it just to make sure that I can get one. But then when I did pre-order it, this one here arrived, which is the original one that came out in like 2015, 2016. And I thought it was nuts that they were getting in the old General Grievous again, but I still bought it because I wanted to compare the new version to the older one to see if there was any differences. And when you take a look at the box, there really isn't anything different, but when you open up the pop, there's one big difference. And so let's start with the re-released version, and when you take a look at them here, it looks like pretty much any Star Wars pop that you would get today. And when you take a quick glance at it, it looks the exact same as the original one. But now, everybody, when you take the original one out of the box, here is the difference. You ready for this? It comes off the base. And with this newer one, it definitely does not. And I don't know why they stopped doing that where they could come off the base, but for some reason with the newer one, they had to completely change it where he was stuck to it. And I think this one here really did look nice when it came off the base because of how dainty his feet were, and it just looked a lot better without that huge clunky base. Especially because of how thin General Grievous is, like his toes are kind of like vulture-like. It looks a lot nicer in my opinion. But then when it came to this one here, he is completely stuck on, and it looks like even the cape is glued on, which I found interesting too. And actually, now that I'm looking at it, I think the cape even has, yes it does, okay, that is weird. The cape even has like a little bit of a bump on it, very similar to the pegs on this one that is connected right to the cape. So it seems like for Funko to be able to re-release this character, they had to do a couple minor changes for it to actually be able to go on shelves. And well, anyways, guys, there you go. That is everything for today. And let me know in the comment section below how you feel about re-release pops in general. Because I know I asked you about the Hot Topic ones, but how do you feel about this as a whole? Because I think for me, I am totally okay with them having this figure that came out back in like 2015. And if they want to make another character of General Grievous, don't bring back the exact same one. Make something new and fresh like this. Because for me, I would probably prefer it where they take this one, you know, when they make it back in like 2015, 2016. And if they want to make another General Grievous, they do something like this without re-releasing the exact same character. Because I can definitely see this as an upgrade. He's got 4 lightsabers instead of 2. He also has a brand new head sculpt, a different color. It just looks nicer in general. But this one here also still has that original Funko feel, so I'd want to pick up both of them for my collection because they're completely different characters. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you want to see more from me in the future, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, do all that. But this has been another episode of Top Pops, Popsters. Thanks for watching. See you guys tomorrow.
Did the math, I'm baby Johnny Cash. My girl gon' throw it back. Damn, my life is cinemax. Holy hell, this max. I make hits and you make trash. I'm on vacay, do not ask. Poolside eating Apple Jacks. Shut up, bitch. Shut up. Big deal like TJ Maxx. Bought some cataracts. Watching naughty.